Herman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, Uncle Joe McLaughlin and the Professor Russ Stevens. Hopefully JP's first son will be here. Tim Hoey will be here very soon.
Failed us. He'll be here.
He'll be here. So yeah, boys, we got another great show for you tonight on a boring Wednesday. Nothing's happening.
Well, it's a slow news day
Across the country. But we got to talk sports. Try to have a half an hour where we forget that there's a coup going on in the country. So hopefully nobody will attack us and come through the door while we do this show. We start with the Boston Celtics, and I have to be honest with you, Peyton Pritchard, he's must-watch TV when he's on the court. I haven't been as excited about not a top pick. Obviously, we were excited about guys like Brown and Shea, but a guy that you could root for like this. It's just a fun story.
What's really cool about it is, I honestly, he's never been a rookie, and very few veterans who've joined the team that within 5 games, I'm literally saying about him, just so long as the ball's in his hand, it'll be fine. Just get the ball to Peyton and he'll make good decisions with it. It's like having a defenseman in hockey, where that when he's got the puck, it's going to be good. Like he's not going to turn it over. He's going to do the right thing with it. And Pritchard, stunningly, as a rookie, I just feel like whenever the ball's in his hand, something good's going to happen.
Well, that wasn't the case in the first Detroit game. He was good.
Yeah, but sure. But Joe, he's had one bad game out of 7 as a 26.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's amazing where all 3 point guards ahead of him weren't available the other night. Teague, Smart, and Kemba. None of them were available. It was all on his shoulders. I mean, and he came through with flying colors.
Look, he is Tyler Hero for 2020-21 season. He's the guy we wanted last year. Right, but he fits the role that we wanted from Tyler Hero last year.
There were 3 needs, right, that we identified. One was another big in Thompson. A second was a backup point guard, and it looks like we got him with Pritchard. And the third was a wing, in addition to Hayward. Now we have to replace Hayward and an additional wing.
He comes to the trade deadline.
But this was a really important role. They needed this player, especially with Kemba out.
One of my worries, though, is it's like a rookie in baseball. He comes up and he's hitting 400 in his first 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden they figure out he can't hit low and inside.
Yeah, basketball doesn't work that way.
No. What I'm saying is they're going to study. Can he go to his left? Can he go to his right?
Yeah.
They're going to work on breaking down his weeknesses. And they're going to force him into situations. They're going to see what he likes to do, and they're going to try to take it away. After they take it away, they're going to say, "Let's see if you can still do it." Okay. Yeah. Right now, he's a complete surprise. Nobody was expecting it. Hey, I love it. I love the kid. And who predicted he was? My wife said, say this every show because I told her I predicted that he was going to be a big surprise.
All right.
She said, you've been once right in your life, Tim. You have to run with that. Okay.
Yeah.
He's
good. Let's wait to see. Let's give it a little time, and let's see if it continues a little bit.
Yeah. Look. He's going to need to adjust. I think you're right, Tim. They're going to make adjustments to him. He's going to need to adjust. He may not shoot 45% from 3, but all we're asking him to do is play backup point guard for this team. Ultimately, this team's not going to win the championship or go that far without Kemba playing really well because we're just short a player, at least. So when Kemba gets back, all we want Pritchard to do is play a really good backup point guard for 20 minutes. We're not asking him to be an all-star, right?
You wonder how the guys who have been riding the pine, in a similar position that he have, are going to react to this kid just coming in.
But he's not a kid to me.
I know. And I have
for a senior.
We all have to keep remembering it. See, this is what we used to get. We used to get seasoned 22-year-old kids coming out of college. That's what we grew up with. We've now been indoctrinated into 19-year-old number 2 picks that's supposed to come in and do it. This is what we grew up with, guys. Larry Bird's coming right in, and Magic Johnson's coming in, and they were men that were ready to go. And Joe,
look, you talk about basketball IQ. It's pretty clear that this guy has a high level of IQ, and you definitely want that on your point guard.
Oh yeah, he knows what he's already shot ahead those stiff Carson Edwards and Trey Waters. You know, I think that he's going to do just fine. He's already a big upgrade over Mason Terrence's own Brad Wanamaker.
That's for sure.
So, hey, he plays the game with his teammates, you know, not in spite of his teammates.
Great point.
He's a true distributor. So.
Look, I told you this last year, and I know Kemba makes the maximum contract, and I think you have to throw that away for a second. If Peyton continues to develop, Kemba Walker is the perfect sixth man for this team. If you could put him out there against the second team and you'd have an offensive spurt like Kemba Walker could give you, why won't you do that?
You know, what we saw the other night, would you take that as your starting point guard from Pritchard?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if he could give it to you every night, I mean, I want to go back to Timmy. Like, he's a rookie. You said this, Timmy. You know, he's not going to be. He's, you know, the thing that separates Kemba Walker from Peyton Pritchard, among a bunch of other things. But like Kemba, when he's right, he does that night in and night out. He's done that for an entire career. A rookie is going to do that for 2 out of every 3 games. Now, Scotty, your point, I think, is a really interesting one. If Kemba comes back and he's only got 20 minutes a game in him because of his knee, they may decide, you know what, we're better off starting Pritchard with Tatum and Brown and bringing Kemba off the bench as instant offense off the bench.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I'd rather have taken the shots with Jaylen Brown and Tatum taking the shots instead of Kemba. But if you have Kemba on the second team, there's plenty of shots.
Right. But just let's be clear. If Kemba's healthy and can play 25 to 30 minutes a night, he's an all NBA player. Like, he is a much better player than
you know, are we going to get the Kemba that we saw in the playoffs, though? Or are we going to get
don't know
other Kemba?
It's the question.
Yeah, look, the guy
Kemba we saw in the playoffs was not very impressive.
Yeah. So I am rooting. So it looks like we have one more piece we need, and we've talked about this. We need a wing, obviously.
Oh, well, Scotty, I disagree. We need a big giant guy in the middle.
No, I don't think we don't.
No.
We got plenty.
We're fine at center.
You think he's there? You think he's arrived?
Look,
first of all, we've got 3 centers. Yeah, we've got 3 centers right now. In fact,
I disagree. When we played the Nets, we looked tiny out there.
No,
we didn't have a body we could put up against those 2 big giants they stuck out against us.
No. We have.
Oh, their guards were big. He's out for the season.
Everybody's small with Kevin Durant in the court.
Not just Kevin Durant. They had 2 other giants out there. We look
Spencer
tiny.
Dinwiddie makes him look good with that big hair. He looks like he's 6'10".
All I remember is we looked really, really small against the Nets. I know that.
Robert Williams for defense, Tice and Thompson. Thompson for offensive rebounding, Tice to do the dirty work. We have a nice combination there. And you have a guy like Thompson who's going to punish people.
I completely disagree.
No,
against the Nets, we got manhandled physically by the Nets. We had they have 3 big guys over 7 feet. We had 3 guys trying to get rebounds against those guys, and they were coming up with the rebound.
That's not the game. That's not the modern NBA game. You're not going to collect centers.
It was those 2 games against the Nets, I'll tell you that.
But the Nets have been playing poorly ever since. Look, you need a wing, and you have 2 guys who are trying out right now, Langford and Neesmith, 2 high picks the last 2 years. Right. Your hope is that one of them will develop during the course of the year, that you can depend on him during the playoffs to play 15, 20 minutes and play that role. Then you don't have to go out.
You're saying
those guys can't, though.
You're saying
those guys can't. You have to go a different way.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying, Joe. Then it's
a trade deadline.
So you're saying
tryout right now.
You're saying we don't
show nothing.
So you're saying we don't need a big, strong guy in the middle.
No. First of all, there's no guy to acquire.
I'm watching a different NBA than you're watching.
You are watching a different NBA game because everything's done out in the perimeter now. Everything's a 3-pointer. It's not that kind of game anymore, Timmy. It really isn't. And Thompson fulfills what you need.
Well, don't you think that Tice has got to learn to play with Thompson. Instead of
No.
taking 3-pointers,
No,
Thompson brings
look,
him in low. Tice has got to drive.
no.
Or
I
foul.
think here's what Brad tried, and it didn't work out. And I think he finally realized it the other night. He started Thompson and Tice. It failed on every statistical measure there was.
Right.
They couldn't do it. It was not a modern NBA team out there. And so I think he wanted to do it so he could get Robert Williams more time. He's going to need to figure it out. I think you can only start one of those guys, and you got to work Williams and Tice into the lineup otherwise. And frankly, to be honest with you, if Robert Williams continues to play like this, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tice go in a deal at the deadline. He's very inexpensive.
Yeah.
It's his final year of his contract.
Great point. Yeah.
And
Hot take.
and let me tell you, they're never going to re-sign Daniel Tice for $10 million next year.
I agree. Yeah.
So you
No,
could
they're gonna-
trade Tice and pick up one of the Dwayne Dedman or any of these other big guys and get a real third center, so that you've got Thompson's 1, Time Lord is 2, and then you'd have a backup third center.
Yeah, but the key is to get a scoring wing. And
I totally agree.
look, Neesmith hasn't played well, but he has no reason to play well. He didn't have any summer league. He didn't have any training camp.
And is
He
he
had no
not,
exhibition play. He's looking lost out there, as a guy should be.
is he 19 years old?
Yeah,
I think he's 20, Timmy.
He
Yeah,
only
he's not much
played
more.
half of the
Yeah, I'm not
season.
expecting. What's he going to be in 2 years? I'm going to give him a hall pass. Right now.
But Joe referenced this. You know, the spot that Danny's in, the tough spot that Danny's in, is it looks like Neesmith is not going to be ready. He's going to need more seasoning. Maybe by March or April or May or something, he could give you something. The problem is Langford's hurt, so you're not going to know what you have in Langford before the trade deadline, really. And so I think Danny's got to go out and be very aggressive about bringing a wing in at the deadline, whether Langford is playing well or not.
He's got to use that trade exception. It's there for
Yeah.
to be used.
Oh
Got
yeah,
to play that card. That's like having
Yep.
an ace in your shoe. I mean, he's got to use
That's
it.
exactly
And
right.
there's a lot of guys that, teams are going to want a salary dump that would be very attractive at right about that time. Got teams that aren't. But there's one thing I like about the Heat tonight. We're going to see our friend Avery Bradley. I like the way they stock the end of their bench with like cheap veterans like Dragic and Bradley, whereas we're stocking our end of the bench with cheap rookies like Carson Edwards and Trey Waters and the like.
Well, we had
I would rather see a few more veterans on the field.
Joe. We had about 1 million draft picks. the
Yeah,
last 3 or 4
we did.
years.
I know we had to use them.
Yeah.
well, they have an opportunity, Joe, to get rid of these guys and not feel bad about it when they send Trey Waters
Yeah.
and Carson Edwards. I mean, these guys will be
James Young treatment.
Yeah, we picked them and we had to play them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Trey Waters and Carson Edwards are an embarrassment in the NBA. Trey
Yeah,
Waters,
they're not NBA players at all.
no, that was difficult to watch, despite the fact that the Celtics wiped out the Raptors, and that just shows you that game how good the Celtics can be, because I thought they played about perfect.
Yeah.
That's still a great backcourt there in Toronto.
No, boy,
The rest of the
Toronto-
team sucks.
And Toronto looked like they really took a step backwards. I'll say that.
Yeah.
They did not look like that Toronto team we played in
No.
the playoffs, who scared the crap out of me, actually.
But then,
Yeah.
Timmy, you see the difference of having a Thompson. Now Teague was out, but a Thompson and a Pritchard adding these pieces, and how that does put us over the
and
top.
we had a subpar Kemba in the playoffs. So.
Yeah.
I mean, adding Kemba, that's going to be a huge addition, and they might as well, especially like Russ mentioned last week.
Was that an injured Kemba, or was that what Kemba is now?
No, he
That's
was
what I'm
injured. He's got a bad knee.
We're hoping he
He's got a
comes
bad
back, but usually those do become chronic.
All right, boys, we talked about this in our little text fest, but I like Blake Griffin. I think that Blake Griffin would be a nice addition to this team. Could you see, and Detroit's not going anywhere this year, could you see the Celtics pursue Griffin?
Here's the problem. he's almost too expensive for that exception. You'd blow your entire exception on this guy. I just think it's too risky. I really do. Like, look, by the way, you're right that if you hit on Griffin and he's Blake Griffin, like the real Blake Griffin, that could get you into championship contention. He could also go out, tweak his knee and be out for 50 games, and you got Zippo at that point.
You know, I came across an article somewhere, and they talked about it was a particular play where a player was talking about, I was gonna do this, and I looked up and it was Blake Griffin, and I realized it wasn't the real Blake Griffin. It's an old Blake Griffin. So I attempted to do this, and I was successful. And that I didn't realize Blake Griffin had dropped off that much, but I believe in the eyes of his opponents and the other players in the NBA, they don't look at him the same as they used to.
All right, then give me I need 3 names.
All right, let me give you a couple names. Let me give you a couple names. One is you could bring in like a 4, a bigger wing, right? That would allow Tatum and Brown to play down a little bit, right? So Aaron Gordon, right, from Orlando, right? Young guy, has been sort of borderline all-star a couple times, has potential, reasonably signed, got a couple years left on his contract. The other way you could go is George Hill, who, by the way, led the NBA last year in three-point percentage.
I love George Hill, but he's a guard.
He's on Oklahoma City. He costs you about $16 million. It's half the trade exception. That George Hill you could get tomorrow because Oklahoma City's not going anywhere. He's a little smaller. That means those guys are playing up. So I think you got to just pick which sort of flavor you want.
Right. Joe, Timmy, you got anybody you're thinking about?
I don't watch enough basketball to know.
Well, there's lots of guys out there, like even like with Toronto, Pascal Siakam, he's fallen off a cliff there as soon as he got paid. But who's to say that Stevens gets a hold of him and turns him around and he's back to being an all-star again?
Just from the overall landscape, I believe there will be somebody who's trying to dump a contract, somebody who's not going to go anywhere. I think we're going to have a choice of about 5 tasty-looking people that we can take a shot at. Just by doing the math. You know what I mean?
Well, hopefully, Danny, pulls the trigger now. This is very, very important. But I will give it to him.
Well, he's got all my season ticket money he's sitting on.
That Peyton Pritchard pick. Wow. I can't wait tonight just to watch that kid play basketball. All right, before we leave the Celtics, are you guys still in on Brad Stevens?
I don't think they've been coached really well this year yet. I think he's still trying to figure out what he's got. I don't think he's a bad coach. Like just in terms of like, is Brad Stevens a top 10 coach in the NBA? Yes, he is. Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's a top 10 coach in the
NBA. Level. All right, 10, yeah.
Right. But are they being well coached right now? I don't think so.
Would we be having this discussion if Kyrie Irving had not come here for a year?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Oh, I don't know. Nick Nurse and Spoelstra and them really took it to Brad last year.
But hang on though, Joe. Hang on a second. Just be clear. Like the Celtics beat Toronto last year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right. So Nurse took it to Stevens for 3 games, and Stevens took it to Nurse for 4 games. Right. Now Spoelstra took it to him. Right. Yeah. But Stevens is in that top tier.
Oh, right? Oh yeah, I agree. He's in 5 to 10 range right now.
And by the way, if he figures this team out and can get them to overperform, he'll be in the top 5 again. I just don't think he's figured this team out yet.
Yeah. But it'd be nice.
The other guys, the aggressive coaches, were putting him back on his heels.
What I don't like is I don't like the fact that they keep going out in the first quarter and falling way behind. Every game we're behind by 10, 15 points. That means they're not coming prepared to play, and that's a coach's job.
And also having Tatum at the end of every quarter and a clutch moment at the end of the game, taking 30-foot fall away.
Well, now remember though that the one that we had the big problem with, Tatum didn't run the play. Right, they had a play to run, and Tatum didn't do it. Now you could blame the coach but it wasn't that he didn't have a play. He had an alternative play. the play didn't materialize. He based it on something, and they didn't have a good plan B.
All I can say is that Marcus Smart made that incredible pass to him for that winner.
I'm not even
Well,
talking about.
in the last game, Tatum made it was a mid-range run.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
That's an inside joke for our viewers, my last comment, by the way.
Scotty's studiously avoiding Marcus Smart conversation tonight.
Yeah,
That's
well,
okay. We support that.
That's always for
Back in the lineup tonight.
slow night. We can just talk about trading Marcus Smart.
Scotty, trade Marcus is his middle name. That's a new middle name.
You were yelling at Joe, and you thought it was me.
By the way, completely clinically, and this is where I would support my friend Scott. You know, historically, a player's value is never highest until higher than with a year and a half to go on his contract, right? So that means a team trading for him not only gets him for the rest of that year, but gets him for a whole other year.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart at this trade deadline will have a year and a half left in his contract. And I think there's an open question. He's going to want $20+ million a year. There's no doubt about that because he just played for a cheap contract. There's going to be a big question of whether Danny Ainge coughs up $20 million a year for Marcus Smart in a year and a half. And if the answer is no, if he's not prepared to do that, Ainge has got to at least consider moving him at the deadline.
Ross, that is a tremendous point because, you know, if you're really looking, and I love Marcus.
Oh, my God. You kissing his ass?
Well, somebody finally
ripped you a new one.
Well, you know what?
Now Tim's got him out the door.
Well, Russell just enlightened me.
Oh, my God.
One is, it's Scotty, it's logic versus emotion.
Oh, my God.
Russell just enlightened me. No, it's a simple math. It's a simple.
Just enlighten you.
It's an algebraic equation.
Oh,
you know?
Yes.
Because,
Okay.
well, if Marcus is going to be gone in a year and a half, right? And
I just heard that.
Okay, Russell. I wasn't bringing that into the equation because you never brought it up, Scott.
It's the high. He'll never have a higher value. He will probably, if he plays well for the next month, he will never have a higher value than this March.
You're right, Russ. And then they're not on the hook for more than a year and a half, too.
Oh, my God. I said the same thing. Oh,
Hey, Scotty,
God.
you know what I just did? I just stole your lunch money, Scotty.
I know you totally did.
I just stole your lunch money.
So what do you think? What do you think Marcus is going to want in a year and a half?
20 million. I think he's going to want 20 million.
And then
Absolutely, he's all defensive. He's an all first team. He's a first team all defensive NBA player, right? He shoots 38% from 3-point range now,
Scotty,
which is above average.
I got to ask you, Scotty, if Marcus Smart lost his affinity for taking way too many shots, would you be more in favor of keeping him?
Absolutely, I would. I'm just telling you, there's a battle between in the last 6 minutes of the game between Brad, Marcus, Jalen, and Jason Tatum. None of those which are on the same page about what should happen.
Yeah. I mean, if Brad can get a hold of Marcus and bring him in a room and just do the math on a chalkboard and say, Marcus, you're not helping us,
Well, Stevens has done that, and Stevens says Marcus is trying.
Yes. Oh, my God.
It just doesn't always work.
There you go. All right, we got to go. Apparently,
let's talk about Marcus Smart for another half an hour.
We could, trust me. Patriots season ended. Of course, I was rooting for them to lose, and so they win.
Yeah.
Cam
Newton, I can't do that. I can't root for them to lose.
I can do that very easy. Yeah.
Well, if there's money involved, I can do it.
Yeah. Look, Cam Newton, thank you for your effort because you definitely gave a great effort. But you are about as washed up of an NFL quarterback as I've ever seen.
Yeah. He's washed.
With his poise and his good work with the media, though, he might have carved out a place at some network commentator, though.
Well, the joke.
I don't think he'd like to do that. I think he wants to play football.
I do too, but unfortunately, he's not capable of it anymore.
I saw a tweet today. I don't know if I guess the guy was respected, saying that the Washington Football Club may be interested in Cam Newton with a contract between $20 and $30 million a year for 2 years. I'm like,
if I'm his agent, I am on a freaking Lear jet to Washington right now. You know,
he has no value.
That's his agent putting out those $20 million 2-year contract things.
Yeah.
that he'd be available for.
And Stidham has no value. We have to just regroup here and get 2 new quarterbacks.
Yep.
Three. Boy, is that unrestricted free agent too.
Oh, yeah. I think
We're gonna have a new quarterback room next year.
Yeah. All
Bring
right.
you guys.
Main priority, number 1 position that you think that the Patriots should address first, other than quarterback, Russ.
It's got to be pass catchers. It just has to be. I'm sorry. Like, you can't, whatever quarterback you bring in, you can't foist this crap on him next year. It's because it's crap. These guys just are not talented or fast enough on offense.
If Brady was here in his prime, might have won 2 more games this year than the Patriots won this year with who he had to throw to.
Maybe.
So I'm thinking they're saying that kid who won the Heisman might be available at our draft spot.
Oh, Smith. Yeah, that would be nice at 15. Joe.
I'm kind of with Russ, but I would like the tight end tackle combo somewhere in a tight end that could block.
Guy like Pitts.
Gronk again, someone like that, a Ben Coates, someone who
But I don't think there's going to be.
Tackles are terrible now.
But I don't think there's going to be a tight end who's worth a 15th pick.
No, Pitts. This guy Pitts out of Florida is supposed to be a huge stud. So to me, he would be worth that 15th pick. Absolutely. So Timmy, what's your biggest need?
Oh, I think the wide receiver, and I'm dying. There's either one of those Alabama kids. I don't know if they'll be there, but
yeah.
I'll take either one of them.
Again, I say this, and I've said it a time. A tackling machine at linebacker. I think so much. We've always had great linebackers.
Yeah, but Belichick's been able to pluck those guys out of free agency through the years.
And with all the money they have, they might go that way too.
I just think, you know what? But even at one higher level than this, speed kills, and we do not have enough of it. We do not have enough speed on this team. And I watch these other football teams play on Sundays, and I'm just amazed at how fast these guys are at all these positions: middle linebackers, outside linebackers, wide receivers, tight ends, safeties who are just blazing fast. And we got like 3 guys who have that kind of above average speed on this team.
No excuse. No excuse for that. I mean, you should have fast guys in the NFL.
What the hell?
Yeah, I mean,
they're the elite athletes.
All right, we go to the Red Sox, who are literally doing nothing. But
who?
Yeah, the team that
he's just
on the street, literally doing nothing.
Flatline. Yeah.
And they think just creating rumors that they're interested in acquiring guys is almost like acquiring them.
It's bad.
Right?
Who's going to watch any of these games?
Well, is anyone doing anything in Major League Baseball? There is no hot stove whatsoever. San Diego made a couple of trades, and that is it. Nothing is happening.
Crazy.
There's no
news, nothing coming out of all 30 teams, nothing.
Now they're talking about expanding, and going to places like Vegas and maybe Norfolk, Virginia or something. I gotta think at some point teams are gonna fold.
It's interesting. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
if you go 2 years, Russ, without fans,
it could happen. Some sort of, as Joe said, contraction. It'd be very interesting.
Can Kansas City lose another team?
Yeah, right. And then the Bruins, in the last couple minutes, Bruins are actually going to be playing next week? I mean,
but we're getting Marchand might be playing opening, and remember he wasn't supposed to play for a month.
Are you guys going to be into this? I mean,
hell yeah. What else do you have to do? Right? Like, of course I'm going to be into it. The Patriots are done. All we got is the Celtics. Like, why not? Let's just jump onto the Bruins and watch a lot of Bruins this year. Why wouldn't we?
With these
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of excited about the Bruins season, aren't you, Timmy? I mean, they got the kid Smith. they're going to be, it's going to be rough on defense. Maybe they're going to play an open, freewheeling game. It could be fun.
Well, they've had some
Still got
guys,
Tuca there.
they got some guys in the pipeline. You know, we were solid on defense. We've been solid on defense. I wanted us to get bigger. We got rid of one of the munchkins back there. We got rid of a giant too, who, you know, I think they have a good pipeline of kids coming through here. I think they're going to be a half decent team. You know, we need Marshawn healthy, obviously.
Yeah, Pastor Nick. Right.
Okay, so what's how patient will Bruins fans be with Tuukka Rask? I know
Not at all.
Timmy has no patience, but
You know what? I don't think we're going to have to worry about Tuukka. He you know,
Last year.
he was playing great, you know,
Yeah.
when he walked away. You know, I'm the biggest Tuukka basher in the world, but he gained some of my confidence, you know, not the last playoffs, but the playoffs before that. So, you know, goaltending's not one of our big worries right now. Well,
Okay.
you
and
know.
seeing Chara just had his first practice with the Washington Capitals. I don't know what he's doing, but I think it's pathetic.
No, he loves the sport. He loves the game.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you want to play the sport until you couldn't play it anymore? You know,
Hockey?
like,
no.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
Taking a freaking
this
puck in the
guy's
hole?
a
No.
this guy's
They're gonna play in the alumni games.
this guy's a gym rat. This guy's the biggest gym rat, literally.
There's 65-year-old guys out there playing men's league. Come on.
Yeah.
I know, but they don't. The guys can't lift the puck and do super crap like that.
I don't know. I think God bless him. Play as long as you can. Gordie Howe played until he was 50, for God's
most-
sake. Just play as long as you can.
It's the most fun sport to play in the world, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
I got no problem with that.
I don't know. It's just to me, you know, guy, hang it up. Come on, pal. You know, I mean, you know, you do affect your legacy at some point.
I really wish he was still in the Bruins. You know, just doing limited minutes, penalty killing, going out there when we need someone tough out there to beat somebody up. And
Well, I'm glad he's gone. I like young players. I mean, you know, he did great, but forget about
Well,
it.
he had
All
to
right,
go
boys.
sooner or later.
That's our show for tonight. First show of the new year. Want to thank Corbin, of course. Want to thank, of course, the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.